your gut. It's common advice, but is it accurate? In this talk, I will highlight 3 human faculties which fail us more than we like to believe. 1, logic. 2, vision. And 3, memory. In World War II, the British forces had a problem. They wanted to make their fighter jets more robust, but they had to do this without compromising the fuel, speed economy, and maneuverability of their planes. They couldn't make it too heavy. To aid with this problem, they employed mathematician Abraham Wald. The initial solution they devised was to protect the parts of the planes which had been heavily hit, as shown here. Seems sensible, right? It's certainly the intuitive answer. However, Wald saw through this faulty logic. He advised that the undamaged parts of the plane be protected. This is because Wald considered the hidden information, the planes that had not come back. The very reason the fighter jets were not coming back to damage to the engine, fuel tanks, and midsection of the fuselage was because this damage was detrimental. Once this error is revealed, it seems perfectly obvious. But at first glance, our intuition is wrong. Our gut is wrong. Now, perhaps you may be saying, Sara, yes, I may not be some fancy mathematician called Abraham Wald, and sure, yes, I may not have spotted this logical error called survivorship bias, but surely, you can't be telling me that my vision could mislead me. You couldn't be telling me that eyesight in a human being be compromised? That's ridiculous. Well, the following experiment will show just how spectacularly wrong you are. In the experiment, a group of 6 people, 3 wearing white and 3 wearing black t-shirts, are seen passing several basketballs between the group. The observers are then asked to follow the ball between the white players, the white t-shirt players. And this is what the observers tend to focus on. However, during the game, a man dressed in a gorilla suit waltzes through the scene, even beating his chest a few times. When describing the experiment, it seemed impossible not to have noticed the gorilla walking through the scene. However, a sizable 50% of observers do not notice the gorilla when later questioned about it. In one study, researchers measured the perspective of people in different states before going on a hike. Here we can see that both mood and energy levels also influence how we view things. A group of participants were given heavy backpacks and then asked to estimate the inclination of the hill. The participants with heavy backpacks estimated the hill as much more inclined than those with no backpacks at all. Furthermore, some participants were asked to listen to melancholic music beforehand. Participants asked to listen to melancholic music beforehand also rated the hill as much steeper as the participants that had not listened to music. So now that's logic and vision. Let's move on to memory. Now, memory. It's a key part of who we are, a cornerstone of our identity, perhaps, and it is believed by many to be like a filing system. It is thought that when you make a memory, it is placed in a neat little file and sorted somewhere in the back of your brain. Now, the reality is not as simple, and certainly not as tidy. In one experiment, where memory expert Elizabeth Loftus conducted an experiment in which she showed participants a simulated road accident, she asked a group of participants how fast were the cars going when they hit, and another group of participants how fast were the cars going when they smashed. In the group asked the leading question, smashed. a larger amount of participants rated the cars as going faster than the group asked the hit question. Furthermore, an additional 32% of participants who were asked the smash question saw broken glass at the scene of the accident, where there was in fact none. In stressful situations, when we would consider our memory to be even more accurate, it fails at the same, if not greater rate. For example, in an experiment, again conducted by memory expert Elizabeth Loftus, including some military soldiers who were training for prisoner of war type situations, she found that when asking them to identify their interviewer, their memory failed a significant amount of the time. This is especially surprising because the participants were not only interviewed using hostile techniques, but were also subject to physical abuse. A shocking 84% of the participants failed to identify their interviewer after being fed some misinformation and leading questions. Sometimes, even identifying their interviewer as someone who didn't even look remotely like the person who was actually interviewing them, as shown here. Far too often, we see ourselves as precise machines, able to process reality objectively. But this is far from the truth. When we use our intuition, we are often so wrong. So next time someone tells you to trust your gut, ignore them. Thank you.